The Baltimore Ravens came into Sunday night with high hopes, only to leave the field with frustration and disappointment, facing the New England Patriots. They had a double-digit fourth-quarter lead, only to see it slip away in stunning fashion. The final score read 28-24. And for many fans, it felt like a game that was there for the taking, but was lost due to questionable decisions. At critical moments, the blueprint for success had been evident all along. Yet the Ravens chose a path that left both fans and analysts scratching their heads. This particular game felt like a breaking point for not only local supporters, but also for national observers, and the reaction has been swift and pointed. On one side, critics highlighted how the team handled its offensive strategy, especially the way the running game was managed, with Derrick Henry left off the field during the most decisive moments. This was baffling, considering how dominant Henry had been throughout the game, running with precision, gaining over 100 yards on 18 carries and scoring twice. He was unstoppable, averaging over 7 yards per carry, and yet when the Ravens needed him most, he didn't see a snap. The discussion quickly turned to the coaching decisions behind this strategy. The idea of a rotation plan, alternating backs as part of a broader strategy, has been defended by the coaching staff. Yet the reality of the situation did not support such a rigid approach. When a player is performing at peak efficiency, especially someone like Derrick Henry, conventional wisdom and common sense suggest riding the hot hand. Comparisons were made to other sports, with analogies pointing out that you wouldn't take a streaking shooter off the court in basketball in the middle of a scoring run. The message resonated widely because it captured the essence of the frustration. Fans, analysts, and former players all struggled to understand why such a clear opportunity to secure a win was mishandled. This game was also a stark reminder of the recurring flaws in game management and decision-making for the Ravens. John Harbaugh, a seasoned coach with nearly 2 decades at the helm, has faced scrutiny in the past for similar issues, yet the pattern continues, and it feels increasingly difficult to overlook these errors. Even when the Ravens held multiple timeouts, they failed to capitalize on opportunities to run the ball, control the clock, and protect their lead. The team's in-game choices not only allowed the Patriots to remain in contention, but actively contributed to the collapse. Observers questioned the rationale behind sidelining a player who was clearly giving his team the best chance to win. Tony Dungy's comments encapsulated this sentiment, pointing out that it made no sense to remove someone so impactful from the action, and that a player like Henry should have been central to those final drives. The analogy to a hot-handed player in basketball perfectly illustrated the point. When your best weapon is on fire, you don't bench him. The broader implications of this loss stretch far beyond a single game, with playoff hopes already fragile. The Ravens now find themselves in a position where they are not only fighting for postseason relevance, but also dealing with mounting criticism about the team's construction and leadership. Analysts like Shannon Sharpe have suggested that it may be time for a new voice in the organization, implying a need for leadership changes that could reinvigorate the team's culture and direction. The idea is that the team, as currently constructed, is aging, slow, and lacking in crucial areas such as pass rush and defensive versatility. Key players have struggled, and while some individuals have performed admirably, there is an overall sense that the roster cannot compete at the highest level. Even with Lamar Jackson healthy, the team's current structure limits the ceiling of what is achievable. Especially against elite opponents, the Ravens' offensive line has shown vulnerabilities, and the defensive front lacks the explosiveness and depth needed to consistently pressure opposing quarterbacks. The combination of these issues has left fans questioning the long-term viability of the team under the current leadership. Another critical component of the discussion revolves around John Harbaugh himself. While he is a Super Bowl winning coach with an impressive tenure, longevity does not shield him from scrutiny when decisions repeatedly cost the team critical games. His ability to inspire and guide players seems to be under question, as observers noted decline in the efficacy of his messaging and game management. The team's struggles, particularly in pivotal moments, highlight the tension between his established authority and the practical outcomes on the field. Fans are beginning to wonder if the consistency that once defined the Ravens has been replaced by outdated strategies and an inability to adapt to modern football dynamics. There is a growing narrative that change may be necessary, whether that involves reassessing leadership roles, implementing fresh perspectives, or making structural adjustments to the roster as free agency approaches. Decisions regarding key players and the overall strategy will be under intense scrutiny, with the organization facing the delicate balance of immediate success versus long-term competitiveness. The conversation surrounding the Ravens also touches on the individual performances of players who have not lived up to expectations this season. Injuries, inconsistent play, and missed opportunities have compounded the team's struggles. While stars like Zay Flowers have stepped up, others, including key receivers and tight ends, have experienced difficult seasons marked by errors and lost productivity. The inconsistency in offensive production has forced the coaching staff into difficult situations. Yet even within this context, the decision-making during critical moments has been widely criticized. Observers note that the combination of roster limitations, strategic missteps, and questionable personnel usage has left the Ravens vulnerable in high-pressure games. This has fueled national discussion, amplified by the visibility of televised matchups, which shine a spotlight on errors that might have gone unnoticed in less prominent contests. The perception that the team cannot fully capitalize on its talent has created frustration among the fan base and broader football community alike. Looking ahead, the focus is shifting toward the offseason and the potential for organizational adjustments. Free agency and upcoming drafts will be pivotal for the Ravens as they attempt to address gaps in talent, improve depth, and rebuild critical positions, particularly along the offensive and defensive lines. Analysts suggest that significant moves will be required to restore competitiveness and to give Lamar Jackson the tools necessary to maximize his impact. The combination of coaching decisions, player performance, and structural challenges creates a scenario in which incremental improvements may not suffice. Bold, strategic changes could be necessary to regain relevance in the AFC. Fans and commentators are closely watching how the Ravens front office will respond to the mounting pressure and the clear signals that the team may be at a crossroads, with national attention on both the successes and failures of this franchise. The path forward will require careful evaluation of leadership, talent, and strategic philosophy. As we move forward, the Ravens' situation only becomes more pressing, and the conversation about the team's direction continues to gain momentum. Shannon Sharp's perspective that the Ravens may need a new voice resonates with many who have watched the team struggle over the past few seasons. It is not merely a critique of John Harbaugh as a person or coach, but rather a reflection of the accumulated challenges in leadership, roster construction, and game management. The reality is that Baltimore's roster has aged, and key players who once defined the team's competitive edge are no longer performing at the same level. Marlon Humphrey, once a cornerstone of the secondary, is now showing signs of decline, and the pass rush, once a feared component of the defense, has become inconsistent. The offensive line has failed to protect Lamar Jackson adequately, contributing to the uneven performance and limiting the quarterback's ability to execute at full speed. When you combine these factors with questionable in-game decisions, it is easy to see why fans and analysts alike are calling for substantial changes. In the aftermath of the loss to the Patriots, questions abound about the team's identity and capacity to adapt. Observers note that the Ravens, despite having talent on both sides of the ball, repeatedly struggle to close out games in high-pressure situations. The handling of Derrick Henry during the critical fourth quarter became emblematic of this broader problem. It was not just a single decision. It was a reflection of systemic issues in how the team approaches its most crucial moments. Fans, former players, and analysts alike have voiced their frustration, emphasizing that when your most dominant player is performing at an elite level, there is no strategic justification for sidelining him during the decisive drives. These mistakes compound, creating a perception that the Ravens are unable to fully leverage their strengths, leaving critical opportunities unclaimed and postseason hopes in jeopardy. The discussion about leadership continues to gain traction, with a growing consensus that while John Harbaugh has achieved success in his tenure, the time may be approaching for fresh perspectives. The team's lack of consistency in high-stakes situations has prompted speculation about whether a new voice in the locker room could inspire improved focus, accountability, and execution. This is not a criticism of past accomplishments. Harbaugh has built a franchise capable of sustained competitiveness and has led the Ravens to playoff appearances and a Super Bowl victory. However, the evolving challenges of the league, coupled with roster limitations and recent performance lapses, suggest that change could be necessary to prevent the team from stagnating. As Sharp highlighted, The current roster may simply not be equipped to compete for a Super Bowl. Without adjustments to both personnel and leadership philosophy from a roster perspective, the Ravens face significant decisions heading into the offseason. Free agency looms large, with several key players set to hit the market and difficult choices about contracts, extensions, and new acquisitions. The offensive and defensive trenches, particularly the interior line and pass rush, require attention. Without improvements in these areas, even Lamar Jackson's elite skill set cannot be fully optimized. Analysts suggest that anywhere from 40 to 60% of the starting offensive line could see turnover, with similar considerations on the defensive front. The team must balance the urgency of win-now moves with the necessity of long-term stability, a task complicated by both performance inconsistencies and salary cap considerations. The roster construction challenges, coupled with the need to maintain depth and flexibility, highlight the delicate balancing act facing the Ravens front office. Meanwhile, the quarterback situation remains a focal point, particularly in light of Lamar Jackson's injury history. Ensuring his health and protecting him with a competent line is critical for maximizing the team's potential. Beyond Jackson, the passing game has seen uneven production, with receivers like Zay Flowers stepping up alongside veterans such as Adree Hopkins, yet others struggling with consistency and errors. Tight ends and complementary offensive weapons have had disappointing campaigns, putting additional pressure on coaching decisions to extract performance from the talent available. When high-caliber players fail to receive sufficient support from both the roster and coaching strategies, the cumulative effect undermines the team's capacity to compete at the highest level, particularly in the postseason. The defensive side of the ball also highlights the gaps that need addressing. While individual playmakers exist, such as Matt Judon and Marcus Peters, the overall unit has shown vulnerabilities. In pressure situations and against elite passing attacks, the lack of a consistent pass rush allows opposing quarterbacks ample time to dissect coverage, while the secondary struggles to contain dynamic receiving threats. The combination of slow adaptation, aging personnel, and uneven performance has created a scenario where the defense, once a defining strength, cannot reliably carry the team in critical matchups. This situation underscores the importance of strategic acquisitions, development of young talent, and potentially revisiting coaching philosophies to ensure that the defense can execute consistently against elite competition. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Your support keeps us bringing you the latest news on the Baltimore Ravens, and hey, drop your take in the comments below. We want to hear from the flock. The NFL world is buzzing with what could be the most shocking offseason move in recent memory. The Baltimore Ravens are reportedly closing in on a deal for Tyreek Hill, the league's most electrifying wide receiver. If this rumor holds water, it would instantly reshape the dynamics of the Ravens' offense and potentially make them the fastest team in the league, literally and figuratively. Hill's blazing speed and game-breaking ability could pair with Baltimore's young quarterback and existing weapons to create a nightmare scenario for opposing defenses. Imagine defenses having to account for Hill's ability to stretch the field in every single play, while also trying to contain a backfield that has been quietly evolving into one of the most versatile in the NFL. Sources suggest that talks have been progressing behind closed doors, with both sides reportedly excited about the prospect of joining forces. For a team that has been looking to inject more explosiveness into their game plan, adding Hill would be nothing short of revolutionary. Analysts are already speculating how this could transform play calling, with deep shots becoming a regular feature and quick screens turning into high-stakes, high-reward plays. The Ravens, known for their physicality and precision, could now combine that with the kind of sheer speed that can turn routine plays into highlight reels. Of course, the ripple effects of such a signing would be immense. Hill's presence alone could open up opportunities for other receivers and tight ends, as defenders would be forced to respect his vertical threat. This could also influence the running game, creating lanes for Baltimore's backs as defensive schemes adjust to account for Hill's unprecedented speed. In a league where matchups are everything, this potential acquisition would make the Ravens a team defenses must game plan for on multiple levels, blending speed, skill, and creativity in ways rarely seen. While nothing is official yet, the mere possibility of Tyreek Hill in Baltimore has already sparked fevered discussion across fan forums and analyst panels alike. Some are calling it a game-changer. Others a risky but thrilling gamble. But one thing seems clear: if this rumor proves true, The Ravens won't just be fast, they could redefine what it means to play with pace in the NFL, leaving opponents scrambling to keep up. The league may be on the verge of witnessing one of its most electrifying offenses ever. And it all starts with one name, Tyreek Hill. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay in the loop with exclusive news on our Baltimore Ravens, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. We'd love to hear what the flock thinks. Drop your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next one.